Deep beneath the Atlantic waves, there is a story that has haunted the human imagination for over 2,000 years. It is the tale of a civilization so advanced and so powerful that it challenged the gods themselves, only to be swallowed by the ocean in a single day and of catastrophe. This is the legend of Atlantis. While many dismiss it as a mere fable, others believe it is a distorted memory of a real historical disaster that changed the world forever. Today we are going to dive deep into the origins of this mystery and look at the scientific theories and geological evidence that might finally explain what happened to the lost city. To understand Atlantis, we have to start with the man who first told the world about it. Around the year 360 BC, the Greek philosopher Plato wrote two famous works called Timaeus and Critias. He did not present the story as a myth but as a historical account passed down through his family. Plato claimed the story originated in Egypt, specifically in the city of Say. It was there that an Egyptian priest shared the records with the Greek statesman Solon. The priest told Solon that the Greeks were like children because they had forgotten their own history, while the Egyptians had preserved the records of a war that happened 9,000 years before their time. According to this account, Atlantis was a massive island continent located just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we today know as the Strait of Gibraltar. Plato described a kingdom of incredible beauty and engineering that was far ahead of its time. The city was built in a series of concentric rings of land and water connected by massive bridges and tunnels that were wide enough for large ships to pass through. The capital was filled with towering temples and palaces covered in a mysterious reddish metal called orichalcum. For centuries, historians thought this was a made-up material. However, in 2015, divers off the coast of Sicily discovered nearly 40 ingots of a strange alloy at the bottom of the sea. Scientific analysis revealed it was a mixture of copper and zinc with traces of iron and lead. This discovery proves that the legendary metal of Atlantis was a real trade commodity in the ancient Mediterranean, and it suggests that Plato was describing a world with very real technological connections. One fascinating detail Plato mentioned was the abundance of wildlife on the island, including a large population of elephants. This is a crucial clue because it suggests a landmass that was either connected to a continent or large enough to support megafauna. If Atlantis was in the Atlantic, the presence of elephants would point toward a time when land bridges existed, or toward a location like North Africa. Plato also described a massive central plain surrounded by mountains that shielded the city from cold northern winds. This plain was perfectly rectangular and was crisscrossed by a sophisticated network of irrigation canals that allowed for 2 harvests per year. This level of agricultural planning suggests a society that had mastered civil engineering long before the official dawn of civilization. The end of the Atlantean Empire was sudden and violent. Plato wrote that the gods decided to punish the people for their pride and greed. Violent earthquakes and floods erupted across the continent, and in the space of just 24 hours the entire island vanished into the depths of the sea. Interestingly, Plato added that the ocean in that area became impassable and unnavigable because of the vast amount of mud and debris left behind by the sunken island. This specific detail matches the aftermath of massive tsunamis and underwater landslides, which often leave the sea cluttered with sediment for years. One of the most compelling scientific theories points to the island of Santorini in the Mediterranean. Around 1600 BC, one of the largest volcanic eruptions in human history occurred there. The center of the island literally collapsed into the sea, creating a massive underwater crater. This event sent towering tsunamis crashing into the nearby island of Crete, which was the heart of the advanced Minoan civilization. The Minoans were a sophisticated naval power with multi-story buildings and complex art. Their sudden decline after the volcanic disaster matches the timeline in many details of Plato's story. If we assume a simple translation error where 900 years became 9,000 years, the Minoan theory becomes almost a perfect match for the legend of Atlantis. However, some researchers look much further away for the truth. One modern theory points to the Richat Structure in the Sahara Desert, which is also known as the Eye of the Sahara. When viewed from space, this geological formation consists of massive concentric rings that look almost exactly like the city layout described by Plato. While it is located in the desert today, thousands of years ago the Sahara was a green and fertile land. Plato mentioned that the city was open to the sea to the south and protected by mountains to the north. Satellite imagery of the Eye of the Sahara shows clear evidence of ancient water erosion and riverbeds flowing exactly where Plato said they should be. The site even features black and red and white volcanic rock which matches the exact colors of the stones Plato said the Atlanteans used to build their massive structures. In 1968, another mystery emerged near the island of North Bimini in the Bahamas. Divers discovered a half-mile-long stretch of rectangular limestone blocks that appeared to be a paved road or a wall at the bottom of the ocean. This became known as the Bimini Road. While some geologists argue it is a natural beach rock formation, others point to the precision of the stones and the fact that some appear to be propped up by smaller rocks. This discovery revitalized the ideas of Edgar Cayce, who is a famous 20th-century psychic known as the Sleeping Prophet. Years earlier, Cayce had predicted that the ruins of Atlantis would be discovered off the coast of Bimini in 1968 or 1969. There is also the haunting theory of Doggerland, which was a vast land mass that once connected Great Britain to mainland Europe. Around 8,000 years ago, this fertile plain was swallowed by rising sea levels and a massive underwater landslide known as the Storegga Slide. While Doggerland is much older than Plato's timeline, it proves that entire landscapes inhabited by humans can be erased by the ocean in a very short amount of time. It shows that the collective memory of a drowned world is a historical reality for our ancestors across the globe. We must also consider the connection to the mysterious sea peoples who caused the collapse of the Bronze Age. Around 1200 BC, a massive group of seafaring warriors began raiding the civilizations of Egypt and the Hittites. Ancient Egyptian records describe them as coming from the islands of the Great Blue Sea. Some historians suggest that these sea peoples were actually the survivors of a natural disaster that destroyed their homeland in the Atlantic. This would turn the legend of Atlantis into a story about a massive refugee crisis that nearly brought human civilization to its knees and forced the survivors to resettle and spread their knowledge. The cultural rituals of Atlantis also provide a bridge to the real world. Plato described a sacred ceremony where the 10 kings of the island would hunt a bull using only wooden staves and no iron weapons. This specific tradition of bull worship and ritualized hunting is a hallmark of many ancient cultures in Spain and Crete. This suggests that the legend of Atlantis might be a composite memory of several advanced cultures that shared a common religion centered around the power of the bull and the sea. Ultimately, the legacy of Atlantis survives because it touches on the fragile nature of our greatest achievements. It reminds us that even the most powerful societies are at the mercy of the earth. Whether it was a real city in the Atlantic or a memory of the Minoan eruption, the story serves as a bridge between hard history and human myth. It reminds us that our past is filled with secrets that are still waiting to be uncovered beneath the sediment of time. As long as there are unexplored corners of the earth, the legend will continue to inspire us to look deeper and reach further into the past. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the mysteries of Atlantis. If this exploration of the lost world sparked your curiosity, please hit the like button. It helps our community of history lovers and mystery seekers grow. What do you believe is the truth behind Atlantis? Do you think the Eye of the Sahara is the best candidate, or do you believe it lies under the sea near Bimini? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I love reading your theories and perspectives. If you want to keep diving into the legends that shaped our world, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. To continue your journey through the unknown right now, click on the video on your screen to explore another fascinating story from our past. Until next time, stay curious and keep looking for the truth beneath the surface.